we're very much thankful to Samdani Foundation for the artist-led initiative they're taking. Actually, we're a collective art group. And now I very briefly want to share you our journey and our future plans in a short way. So it was the end of the year 2013 when we were completing our MFA from our Faculty of Fine Arts, University of Dhaka. We used to chat and talk around our campus with all of our experiences and thoughts of the contemporary emerging art practices, locally or abroad. Not only that, our own life experiences, socio-political phenomena, artist commitment, everything were the parts of our discussions. And gradually we found that beyond our casual friendship, we also have a very good tendency of receiving and sharing our thoughts and art concepts among us. One of our friends from that group told us that to give a try to move together with some sort of art activities. Actually, he was very much inspired from the mid-20th century artists movement of Mumbai and Calcutta art groups and the endeavor of Shoma group of our country during the late 90s. I'd like to say something about Calcutta and Mumbai art groups movement because we think it is very much important, and we'd like to tell something about the recent art practicing groups in our countries. Calcutta and Mumbai art movement during 40s to early 60s were inspiring for us as the way artists felt solidarity with the lashes of their contemporary socio-political and cultural situation and got effort to be combined in a common platform. And we would also like to mark the activities of Shoma group in our country during the 90s, which also evolved almost from similar impetus. Though the time periods of all these groups are really short, but it is noticeable that the artists felt like being together in continuing and shifting subcontinental realm. Though all of them got established in their later journey and as individual artists rather than group practitioners, getting together for even a very short time, they rescued themselves at least from getting alienated in scattered engagement of times. We'd like to also say about a group that was formed in last recent years. Actually, it was the OECG amount, which was very inspiring for us. The conductor of the group was Rafiqul Shubo. He is now abroad. However, during the abrupt and complex political situation of that time, three of us got provoked to do a performance on the street. The name of the performance was Nothing is Happening. It was a sudden performance inspired by common concept of three monkeys, but in much more exotic attire and expressions to carry out the local political tension. After that, every one of us found it interesting and we planned to do some sort of collaboration instead of our individual practices. Sometimes we used to roam around our campus in Dhaka as well, not only for casual time passing, but to watch out different life communities and their activities. Then we found the living and the working process of people of the dog here. I will just sequence you the tunnel. Okay. So there's another image of our project. We can claim it as our former project because our group was formed that time. But I'm just like to say that it was in April of the year of 2014. Seemingly at dock years, the scraps of abandoned ships got new lives being transformed into new water vehicles. The scrap dump Buriganga industrial scrap-based docks and the lives and beings around this and the painstaking tortured river have inspired us to present an art project at one of the docks of the river. There were 22 artists participated in that project. We'd like to clarify that this is not a Daagi art production. Our group was not yet founded at that moment, but informally we organized the project as an experiment to realize our capacity of doing collaboration. So you can say it was just an experimental warm-up of doing something together. So, okay, after several experimentations in such types of collaboration, by the end of the year 2014, we then determined to formally found a group of 7 members within, and after a lot of arguing and quarreling with each other, we finally named it as Daagi Art Garage, following our own studio setup. After taking our studio, we did some sort of a drawing production to energize our united journey. It's a place of every single individuals and all of us as well, where we can discuss, rate, doodle, argue, whatever the things needed to generate our ideas. Similarly, our practice became like a studio artists, but we always try to amalgamate our solo concepts and evolve it in new visual language. So I'd like to tell something about our first show. the weapon can kill. So after discussion of and exercise of almost 6 months, we decided to inaugurate our very first ever formal Daagi outdoor show. The ongoing war situation in countries, death and psychic metamorphosis of mankind. Sorting out the interrelation among these themes, we developed a concept named Weapon Can't Kill, where we try to explore weapons in much more metaphorical visual presentation through personification of weapons in different entities and social structure. The exhibition held in association with Pashala, South Asian Media Institute, and the panel was in the institute. It was really amazing the way Pashala helped us from giving the venue. Exposing to all the parts of their organizing exhibition, we Daagis are always very grateful to them for this. Now I can show you the images of different items of our 7 individuals in that exhibition. Very shortly, I have to share you some images of that exhibition. This is the work Charlotte Bishop's, the way I shape the wind, power playing and occupancy in human civilization. The medium was air-filled polymer bag. The next work is of Rupam Roy, position of position. The interchanging of both subjective and objective position of any entities at different times and situations. And this is the work. This is the work by Russell Choudhury. The metamorphosed states of weapons after the end of all empowerment. Thing to notice is that Russell got inspired to attempt to make sculptures form instead of being a photographer. A kind of collective thought sharing result, we can say. Okay, this is the image of the work of Imran Sohail. He executed his work into the dark room of the Photography Institute. This is another image of his work. This is an installation by Dhiman, Sarkar, the dealing between eccentric and centralized forces in nature and civilization. The work of Sanjit Mahmood, Tariq Rahman, depicting the dignity of objects according to the transformation of their characteristics. Some kind of okay, this is the Tariq Rahman's work. This is sculpture and illustration together. Next. So this is the work by Sanjit Mahmood, depicting his self-entity as weapons, presenting his body parts like hair, nails, saliva, and semen. So there's a portrait with him. So I'd like to share some insights of our collective sharing. I'm going to talk about the performance of 2 of our Daagi members, live object as an example of our collaborative understanding and process. Beyond their friendship, they don't even hesitate to fight with their artistic endeavor with each other even. As a process of our collective thinking, we can show you some of their performance activities here. Next. So this is a sudden performance, street performance actually, live at 6 July, just after the terrible occurrence happened in a restaurant in Dhaka. Though the time matters, but it is not a direct reaction to the specifically that incident, but an expression of empowered vulgarism around the states of the world. So this is a performance of walking around the streets of Dhaka, wearing the loud, alarming horn of ambulance on their heads. This is another live act on the street, carrying out the feeling of being victimized. All of their expressions of certain feelings are actually carried out for a long time discussion, sharing and all over the ways of understanding each other. So I'd like to share something about our ongoing project now and plans, of course. The ongoing project is that a kind of ongoing project of ours which is not fully defined yet, but we can share the process of our project with you. Being the dwellers of the hugely crowded metropolitan city, Dhaka, and the business of lives of our individuals, several times with all of us failed to collaborate with our artists physically. From the very obligation we have now planned to give our thoughts and feelings by sharing several random images, including drawings, photos and texts with each other, maintaining a close group through social media networks. After remarkable levels of abrupt and random images, write-ups from different areas of the city, we're going to culminate those to a final visual presentation. So the very first concept of the antibody can be fully changed into a different visual. Interpretation in the final stage, the process is not, of course, something linear. In this way, where to stop cannot be defined overnight. We have planned to keep it up as long as we got fun to play with it and meet with the results in satisfactory level. We have also had to plan some planning, doing some kind of site-specific projects, and with the environmental change and the transformation as well. And now I'd like to introduce with our member, so just by the name, the members of Daagi Art Garage, Sarkar, Sanjit Mahmood, Shomad Bishash, Russell Choudhury, Rupam Rai, Imran Sohel, and Dhiman Sarkar. In our academic learning, we are from different subjects of fine art. Tarek, Sanjit, Shomad, and Rupam are from sculpture. Russell is a photographer, while Sohel and Dhiman have their degrees from painting. We have kept discussing on contemporary art scenarios of a country and abroad, following the socio-political and socio-cultural history. We try to understand the deal with all practices in both academic and non-academic approaches from different regions, not very different from other studios practitioners who do write and art world individuals, ideas and concepts, as we have a very good frequency among other thinking. How thinking, anybody among us can easily feel free to let us this idea improvise and develop through a group discussion. We won't deny that the task is definitely something tough, as we have to continuously confront with someone's honest and faithful artistic ego. But in the process, we found out that the possibilities are endless. So our ultimate desire is to meet the power of collectiveness, where thoughts and ideas of 7 of us can be merged and create a new artistic dimension of our visual presentation. We believe that the collaboration will also increase our individuals' perceptions as well. There is no concrete achievement no art does have, and we are on our way on this journey. So, thank you very much, everybody. These are all. Can I ask any question or something?
Some recent thinking, for example, in African American art and musicology about jazz forms and improvisation and the collective. And what a kind of privileged collective form that is, because you are responding to others without knowing what the end point of the process is.
Trying to do something, I've always said that through our social media networking, we're just sharing images and our write-ups among us, and we're just improvising when someone is sharing something and the other one is improvising on this thing, and no one can claim that it is his unique art piece. And after a certain time moment, it will be a totally collective output, we think. And we're on that process now. We're on that practice now. So
I think it's also something that is has been quite weak in Europe, for example. And I know one collective that I'm working with from Dhaka, when they're invited to European museums to talk about collectives and collaboration, one of the things they say is, this is not really an Indonesian problem. There's always been a lot of different forms of collectives and collaboration, and we're continuing that. We're taking it in new forms, and they work a lot on sustainability by networking with other collectives and thinking about how they can not be just wondering how to pay the rent, but actually be thinking more in visionary ways about what they want to do and so on. But this question, I think it's something that, looking at very specific histories in different countries of collective practice and collaboration in different forms, is very valuable in an international context. Different histories teaching.
Because I've always said that we continuously have to confront with our artistic ego, because we have at a very much individual practices from the very beginning of our academic practices. Because okay, we just did the class together, and we just worked out together. But finally, we have to gain some kind of marks or some kind of individual performance, have to show something. We're trying to get back from these things, get rid of these things actually. And we don't know what will happen, but at least I think you have already talked to Emma. He said that our process is organic. Yes, we'd like to also use the term that organically we are just searching our journeys and searching with each others and conceptual thought sharings, things like that. Yes.